is Lisa. I'm doing my last load layout for this February 2015 load where we focused on children's books, and I've been saving this particular story. In fact, it's because of load that I actually have more of a story to tell about my Nancy Drew books, and I'll share the story with you as I do the voiceover going through the process video. But I do have 2 photos to scrap, and we've got a lot of things going on in my household right now, so I don't have a lot of time, and I went to my sketchbook so that I could just quickly find a layout for these. I went through all of the 2 photo sketches, and the one that I liked the best was this one, where I'll have my 2, in my case, 4x6 photos. I have a place for journaling and my title. I'm going to flip this though and put the title over here. Now I did also consider, the book has an index at the beginning that if you have 2 photos or 3 photos or whatever, it tells you what pages those are on, and it also tells you some other sketches that you could easily modify. So I looked at some of those. For example, this one, I could put 2 photos here instead of the 4 and have a layout that would work for me, and there were others that offered that option. This could have become a 2 photo sketch, so that's just another option with the sketchbook. But I liked this sketch. In fact, I've liked it so much I used this one to do 3 different videos already that are linked in with the sketchbook, and I'm going to use it again today. Now this time though, I think the big difference I'm going to have is I'm going to flip it, and I think that my areas here with designer paper are going to get larger because I have a lot of journaling to share, and my title is kind of long, so I'm probably going to sort of expand everything out a little bit, and I don't know if I'll have this edge. I think I may just do a little distressing on the edge depending on what kind of background paper that I have. So looking at these books, it makes me think of nostalgic things, and that takes me automatically to October afternoon papers. And I knew that Public Library had this yellow paper in there that would match the books. It's a little bit duller. It's not that far off. It's a little bit duller shade than the photos, but not a lot. But I like that, and I started flipping through the papers as I was preparing for this layout, and I found another one, this one, that has all these numbers and letters cut as individual pieces. This reminds me of when you have a mystery where there's a message that's written in different letters that have been cut out of a magazine or newspaper, so that the criminal has sent their coded message in. So I liked that paper because I thought that went with the mystery. So I'm going to use these 2 and maybe some blue accents, I'm not sure, as I go through the page. For background papers, I'm choosing between some designer papers. I really like this one that has letters. It's just the alphabet going over and over and over. And I first pulled out some cardstock, but I think I'm going to stick with the one with the letters on there. Now, to share a little bit about the story, these books, I have the entire collection of 56 Nancy Drew books in hardback. And I started collecting them, I don't know, sometime in elementary school, and I guess pretty much all through elementary school. When I left home, though, I left them at my mother's, and I thought for sure they were gone because every time I'd ask her about them, she didn't know where they were. She thought they were in the attic. We looked in the attic. They weren't there. That was years ago. It's been 30 years, and these books have been missing. So one day I was up at her house doing something else, and I was looking for some of those little tiny reading books, and I did another page about this one time this month about the little golden books, except they were, she called them the little reading books. And in searching for those, we came across this box of books. She's like, here's another box of books. And there were my entire set of Nancy Drew books. What led us to these was I found a children's storybook inside a little wicker it's not wicker, it's a white metal basket that she has with magazines in it, and had this little book in the front, and it was really heavy, and I had to move it out of the way to get to a chest where she told me there was some of my book or some of my stuff. And it just sort of accidentally that I found that little book, and that led us to the other books. When she saw that, she knew what I was looking for that one time, and so I decided on my title to be The Clue in the White Basket, because that was what really led me to both of us to doing more exploring and finding the Nancy Drew books, because we weren't even searching for them. It was just an accidental thing that day. But I am very grateful for the load process that got me looking for all of this stuff. I'm sure somewhere along the way I would have found these books, but I'm glad I found them during my mother's lifetime, because I gave her a big hug and kiss and thanked her for saving these things, because I have to admit, I told everybody that my mother had thrown away my Nancy Drew books. So I owe her an apology. She did not throw them away. She kept them. She just didn't remember that she kept them or where she put them. And so anyway, but there they are. I have all 56 of them, and they now have a nice new home. So for the page, I spent a lot of time on my title and my journaling and telling the story, and you'll find the journaling over on my blog, and I wrote it in the third person like it would be a mystery book. So I hope it takes on the approach of a Nancy Drew book. I meant sometime this month to pull out one of those books. I pulled out one of those books. I meant to reread one of the books and kind of use that language, that way of speaking, but I never got that done with other things that are going on. But I think I've captured it fairly well in the journaling. Now, my circle here, behind that I cut a design with a silhouette to give it a little bit more dainty, lacy kind of look. And I'm looking for something to go there in the lower left-hand corner. And I've found a label that I think that I would like to put there. I also felt like that it needed some embellishment here, something on there, and I considered wood embellishments and lots of different things. But, I remembered that Nancy was the kind of girl who would wear her pearls. And I got pearls for my 20th birthday, and I loved my pearls. I don't wear them very much anymore, although I think they are kind of coming back in fashion. But anyway, I decided to put pearls on the page. So you'll see that they'll go around that scallop design, and I spent a lot of time trying to make them work out down there at the bottom as well. So I'll be gluing those pearls on with some Tombow adhesive. They would have probably glued a little better with Ranger's glossy accents, but I didn't remember that. And what I'm attempting to do here is where it says property of for the books is to write my name the way I might have written it in elementary school, with that type of more up and down kind of cursive font was more the way that I wrote my name back then. I have things somewhere with my name written on them like that, but I just didn't have those to dig out this morning. Adding a little bit more trim along the bottom. And I'm looking for something else again to go down there, and I'm just not finding anything to sort of fill in that gap. And I did decide to add a little bit more of that rickrack. Also in the journaling, I captured how my grandmother used to read these books. I would read one and then I would pass it on to her, and it was kind of a neat memory that I had of them. Now, the page came together very quickly thanks to the sketch. If you're interested in more about the sketchbook, you can find that over on my blog, as well as a copy of the journaling. And the load process has been fun this month. I didn't get to make quite as many videos and pages as I normally do. As I say, I had a lot of things going on, but I really love the pages that I did, and it was absolutely worth it to have found these books. So I'm really very excited about those, and they have a new home where they're not stuffed in a box. They're in a cabinet, but still I know where they are. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me through all of these videos. I'll have a lot of new stuff coming up in March. We're going to do some really fun things. I've already started on some videos. So here's some close-ups of the layout. And again, you can find more information and a link to the sketchbooks over on my blog.